Hi, it's Stephen at Goodie Goodie, and I'm making caramel latte cupcakes. So here they are, and I made this already. It's a Cupcake Jemma recipe, but I did it so badly that I have to do it again to get it right. So we're starting with caramel. Here we have sugar and water just heating at a medium heat on the stove. And now it's changed color to kind of an amber color. I think it took about 15 minutes. And you don't stir it, you just let it sit. And now I've taken it off the stove. And I'm mixing in a little slab of butter. Now you don't have to do this, it's a little extra step, but it does two things. It adds a little bit of buttery creaminess to the caramel, and you can see it's a pretty strong reaction when you add it in. Now we're going to add the cream in a minute, and you'll see it's a very fiery, almost violent reaction when you put the cream in. So by adding the butter first, it reduces that. You'll see this when I start to stir it. And you see that, and multiply that by 5, and that's what normally happens when you put the cream directly into the hot caramel. And this, please be very careful. It's so hot, this melted sugar, that it's actually kind of dangerous. So please keep kids away whenever you're making caramel. And it's looking really good. Caramel I made before was way too thin and runny. Now we're doing the cupcakes. So I put in some sugar, and this is room temperature butter, and I'm making this in a mixer. Now we always mix everything by hand, always, but when I made them, adding some egg here, when I made them before, we only got 4 cupcakes out of a recipe that should have made 6. There's baking soda, so I thought maybe it's because we didn't use a mixer. I would expect us to only get 5, and that's coffee going in there. So I thought we'd get 5 because we use big cupcake papers. We use jumbo papers. But when I did it here, same thing happened. I used the mixer, and now we're mixing it for maybe 5 minutes just to get it really well mixed in, frothy and airy. And now I'm adding some flour. So we're going to sift that in. Again, being really careful. I don't think you have to sift it. It's probably fine if you don't sift it. And here's our finished batter. That looks pretty nice. And putting it into the cupcake papers, I'm measuring out a 1/4 cupful. That's how big that container is. And again, we're using very large papers. So if you're using regular sized papers, you don't need that much. And you might be able to make 6 if you're making smaller cupcakes. They're in the oven for 350 degrees for about 17-18 minutes, something like that. And when they're finished, you can test them with a toothpick, see if the toothpick comes out clean. Now cutting holes in the middle, and we're going to fill that with caramel. Look at this. So when I did this before, the caramel was so thin it just kind of seeped into it just disappeared. It seeped into the cupcake. This is much better. Another mistake I made with the caramel, it needs to go in the fridge for quite a while to really firm it up. So this time I did it properly, and it turned out really well. Now we're doing the buttercream, and putting in room temperature butter into the bowl, and adding icing sugar now, sifting it. And I'm being a little precious by sifting it. I honestly don't think it makes any difference. It's heresy in baking to say that. But I have a feeling if you just throw the icing sugar in and mix it up well, you won't even be able to tell the difference. But trying to do it properly really well and make sure that we have a perfect result at the end. Now adding in some coffee, that's espresso. Mixing that in. Oh, this is really important. Before I put that in, I took out about 1/4 of the mixture so we had some vanilla buttercream to decorate with later. So this is the remaining 3/4 of the buttercream. So we put the coffee into that, and now we're adding some caramel. Stirring that all up. Again, I'm doing it by hand. This is our buttercream recipe, so I know this works for this. I didn't use Cupcake Jemma's recipe for the buttercream. Okay, and now just piping a big blob. You ever seen the old 50s movie, The Blob? This is, it's pretty much this. And I actually took a spoon, you don't see this in the video, but I kind of smushed it down a little bit so that it covered more of the cupcake. So you can see there, it's kind of a little bit wider blob than it was. Now taking that beautiful caramel and drizzling it on top of our cupcakes. Look at this. That looks so great, we do 2 of them for you here. Just can't stop watching this. Look at that. Perfection. It's so nice. Okay, and here comes our little dollop of vanilla buttercream on top to look like whipped cream on top of a latte. And decorating them with, that's a half of a caramel. So just store-bought caramels cut in half. That seems like a pretty good size. And then we also decorate them with espresso beans, which are totally edible. Now here they are, caramel latte cupcakes. Incredible. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.